Howdy, folks, in St. Petersburg and Tampa and everywhere else you may be watching us from. We are WordPress St. Petersburg. Uh, we're having our Ask Us Anything crowdsourcing WordPress support workshop. Below me on the left hand side of the screen, you will see Travis Lopes, or at least his iPad, Elaine Simmons, and Jennifer Novak, my co organizers for WordPress St. Petersburg. And I am Jim True. Let's go ahead and get started. So, uh, come on, slide, respond. There we go. As I said, this is our WordPress meetup. We meet monthly on the first Tuesday through 2020, online only. More than likely, we'll determine what we're going to do in 2021 when we get there. But for right now, as long as there are mask mandates and stuff like that, we will not be meeting in person. Our meetup website is meetup.com, WordPress St. Petersburg. Our website is wptampabay.org. At that website, you can find links to our YouTube channel, our Facebook group, and to our Slack chat. And we also have links to all of our prior talks that we've done, and their videos and their slides, etc. It's a very useful website. We are a member of the WordPress Tampa Bay network, which means we have several other WordPress meetup groups that meet in the Tampa Bay area that all fall underneath that umbrella on that website of tampabay.org. That is Newport Richey, who has started meeting up in the last couple of months up in Newport Richey, ran by Daniel Shootsmith. And we have Tampa, which is ran by Joe Palest and Steve Curtis. And our Brandon meetup group is run by Alfonso Montebello. Tampa and Brandon have not been having meetups lately, so we are pretty much the only ones doing them right now, along with Newport Richey. Okay, so let's find out what's on the schedule for this month. Upcoming meetups and events on October 13th. The Southwest Florida WordCamp Miami folks, David Bissett and those guys, are doing their mega meetup again. I don't think those hours are right, but the date is right. There will be a link that we published on the Facebook group tomorrow. Is that right, Elaine?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we're probably going to send it out through the meetup channels as well, through the meetup email lists. It's the same link as last month, but instead of putting a link on our website and making it very confusing, we're just going to let their meetup group handle. Everyone just RSVP to that one, and that way you'll be notified of all the details about the meetup group. They have some talks, some scheduled people expected to speak. They have some games planned. There's also, I think Orlando's also going to be attending that one this time. Okay, November 3rd, our first Tuesday of the month in November, we are not meeting. That is election night. It's national election night. We are not meeting. Go vote. If you guys want to do a watch party and cry, or stress out together and maybe eat popcorn or drink, that's fine. But we are not having a meetup that night. Go vote. Later in the month, on the third Tuesday of the
if you
month,
happen to have not registered to vote yet, and
you have
you're
30
watching
minutes.
this live, you have until the top of the hour to register to vote.
That's right. Thank you, Travis. November 17th is our third Tuesday of the month, so that's what we're moving our Ask Us Anything to on November, is going to be November 17th. I've already sent out the YouTube meetup. It's already on our website, and you should have gotten an email notice about that one as well. We have not decided yet if we're going to do any meetups in December. Typically it's the holidays, and we tend to take the December off. We'll hold it to a vote to everybody that's actually on the call tonight. How many people have we got live? 9 people are live. So we'll ask again before the night's over with and have you guys vote to see if you want to do a meetup on December or not. Okay. Let's see. We are looking for speakers, probably for next year at this point. But if you want to talk at any point in time, we can always squeeze you in for a scheduled talk. We would look for people that would like to talk about WordPress, web design, front end or back end, plugin reviews, theme reviews, anything pertinent to web design. We also enjoy entrepreneur talks. So if you are, if you're good with marketing, if you're good with handling a small business or running a small business, running a remote business, pivoting in our current unprecedented times into a new format for your business. It's always fun to talk about that too. It's good for your resume. If you've never spoken in public before, no problem. We'll be doing it live, so you won't have to worry about an audience looking at you, or at least not one you can see. It's great for your resume, your LinkedIn, and your Twitter. And if you're interested, go to our website at wptampabay.org. Click the link for speakers, and then there's the very first link is the call button. Okay, and tonight our code of conduct. Excuse me. There are no stupid questions except the one you didn't ask. So you all came here tonight to learn something or to get an answer to your questions. So ask away. That's what we're here for. Limit your question to 10 to 15 minutes. Any more than that, and you should be hiring a consultant. That just means that we're not going to take the entire hour to talk about your problem. We'll try to limit the whole thing to like a reasonable amount of time so that everybody's questions get answered. And everyone gets to speak, but no crosstalk, and that's just to make sure that we can all hear everybody. Okay, so let me throw up the banner for the dial-in, and let's get rid of the that thing. There we go. So, if you have a question, you can join the call. Just use that link right there. It's also linked in our chat and our comments. If you click that link, it'll bring you into our green room, and we can chat with you for a bit before you join the call. Okay, let me pull up our Meetup questions real quick. We have a couple. Let's see. It's in reverse order. Brad has a question. Let me see if I can snag that whole thing and copy it out there. Whoa! Hello, question. This is Jim talking to his web machine. Don't worry about me. Have you guys seen any questions in the comments yet? Nope. Okay. All right. I'm posting Brad's question now. And show it. Okay. Brad asks how to change the navigation on the site and properly redirecting links as needed. Oh, Andy's already dropped in. Andy, we're gonna handle the question that's on the screen first, and then we'll bring you in, okay? So changing the navigation on your website. Let's see. Let me get my little website up here. Admin. Okay. And let me share the screen real quick. Okay. Yep, you can see it. All right. So when you're inside here, this website is brand new, so it doesn't actually have any navigation yet. But if you go into the navigation here, typically when you're working with the menus here, that navigation menu is just going to be changing your links to other pages within your site. The big question there that you're asking, like, let me go ahead and add a menu real quick. Create menu, main. Jim can't type today. Okay, so I don't think I actually have any pages on the site. I have one page on the site. So in most cases, if you're working with navigation on your WordPress menu, these links are going to be relative links, which means they're not actually going to be website URL / sample page. They'll just be to the actual page. So if you change your links on your menu, they'll automatically link to the right one. But if you are worried about redirection, what you're going to want to look at is the plugin called Redirection. Is that the one you would also recommend, guys, before I
Yes.
jump all over that one? Yeah. I like it because it automatically detects if I go in, and I'll show you this, and it's working. If you just install it and activate it, I want to say it automatically works the way you want it to. Yeah. It has some pretty complicated settings here, but just say start setup, monitor permalink changes in WordPress posts and pages, and keep a log of redirects and 404 errors. You can, or you don't have to store IP information, but it's useful. And continue setup, and say finish setup there. Okay. So if I go in here now and leave, If I go in here now and change the URL, or change like the slug on this to sample page 2 and update, and then I go into tools redirection, it should have tracked. May not have done it yet because I didn't have it ready. I don't know, but I'm almost positive it's supposed to grab those automatically. Site. Does it do it automatically? Find out. Maybe
Well,
it's because
I remember it has a little example, and you're supposed to, you just follow the little example. Change this URL,
yeah,
the one
but
you
I thought
want to
it did it.
change, to the new one.
Okay, I thought it did it automatically for you. Like if you changed it.
No, you kind of have to paste it in there.
Okay, so in this case, like this one is sample page 2, I'd have to go back into tools, redirection, redirects, and go source URL was sample page, and target URL would be sample page 2, and add redirect, and that's pretty much all it does. So it should log them though, so like when you can also see if you're getting 404s or anything like that, they'll all show up here, and then you can do any redirects you need. So that's primarily the plugin I usually recommend to folks, and I think everybody on here recommends when we're doing redirects. So, let me bring Travis back in. Hey Travis, welcome back. Okay.
You want to make sure when you set up those redirects to make sure the trailing slash is optional. You might run into some problems with someone going to a link without the trailing slash. Also, I would recommend if you are using Yoast SEO as your SEO plugin, they have a built-in redirections tool. And it's kind of helpful just to keep everything in one plugin. I know we recently ran into that with the Gravity Form site, trying to track down some redirections, and they were actually all in Yoast. Someone had set up a separate plugin just for one, because they didn't know it was there, and hey, neither did I until that moment.
All right. All right, Andy, we're going to bring you in now. Hey, Andy. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah,
Much
too
better.
sensitive to the keyboard. I did have a question I sent in, which I don't remember what the hell it was.
I can find it for you real quick. Hang on.
Yeah, but I had a totally different one if we have time.
You think you get multiple questions? Who do you think you are? Just kidding.
Does begging
So-
and whining help?
Man, we'll see. So the question you've got in your meetup was how to determine what VPS configurations will be needed. Obviously, one can always upgrade, but what formula would one use to determine the amount of CPU and RAM space required, or better yet, optimal? Are there metrics that need to be considered? I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste that in, I think, so that folks can read that, because it's a lot of information. I'm going to let Travis take this one.
That's a good question. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on how much traffic you're getting, what kind of sites you're hosting. Like if it's an e-commerce site that has like a lot of complex stuff going on versus like a basic business site that's just like a couple standard like landing pages and a contact page. But it also depends on how you're configuring your VPS. If you're using Apache instead of Nginx, if you're using any sort of like Redis like object caching. I mean, like how many sites are you planning on moving to a VPS?
I'm going to move them all there because I found a host called Nestify, which is just incredible value, but better yet, they've had really good support every time I needed something, and they give me support on stuff that really wasn't in their wheelhouse. So I'm quite happy with them. But looking with client sites, and I understand the WooCommerce type that they have large WooCommerce. It's probably best to upgrade them, kick them onto two CPUs. But how much RAM? You know, they kind of give you that. It's a formula. I mean, it's a set amount of RAM you get for each package. But I would not like to put a client on something that they're not happy with, basically. And I don't have any knowledge on how to prejudge that.
I mean, you don't need as much RAM as you probably think you need. If there's not as much heavy traffic at once, like you can probably get away with like even 2 gigs, depending on what you're doing. Do you have a good handle on all the configuration for setting up the VPS? Or do you plan on being like a little more hands off with it?
Myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a managed WordPress site, so I'm not going to dig into the guts of it.
Yeah. Because SpinUp WP offers a good product where you just kind of pick your VPS and then they handle the configuration of it, which they have like a lot of like the built-in like they've tuned the configuration for like all like the Redis caching and using Nginx and that kind of thing.
Right.
And then I mean, no matter what platform you go to nowadays for VPS, it is so easy to scale those things up and down as you need it that I wouldn't be terribly concerned.
Okay.
Other than like just pick a starting point and just go from there.
See what
Set,
happens.
like and then just set like a max budget with the client so that way you have the room to just automatically be able to scale it up as needed.
Okay.
Like when that conversation starts getting really serious about like scaling up and stuff, then that's when you start talking like, hey, let's move the database to a separate server and just like run that separately from where the actual pages are being served up and all that stuff. So,
And the same for images.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you want to go ahead and ask your other question?
Well, my other question was much more general. I've been playing with Gutenberg and I've kind of like it a lot but there are a lot of different block you can get from Gutenberg or from Cadence or from Generate Press. And sometimes I found there's some conflicts in them. And I wonder if
I wouldn't be surprised. That's called plug-in conflict time.
Yeah. So other people, and I wonder what other people's experience, those that have played with Gutenberg, what they found. It certainly makes a fast site.
Yeah.
And what the constraints are that you found.
Honestly, I've played with the standard blocks that are provided through the patterns and stuff that WordPress provides and generate blocks, and that's it. I've not used anybody else. I'm not a big fan of having, again, like I think most people say here, I'm not a big fan of having too many plugins on my site, and I've not found anything that I could not do with generate blocks. So,
Okay.
I did try out Cadence Blocks. It's a plugin. Like last week, it does a lot of more advanced blocks, I guess, such as accordions and
tabs and stuff like
tabs, things like that. If you have specialty items that you don't feel like recreating.
It plays really well with their Cadence WP theme, which I like for their headers and footers.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it plays really well with that.
Okay, yeah.
I won't say anything because Generate Press is dropping.
It didn't work for me
next month.
for what I needed, but whatever.
My guess would be like a lot of conflicts you see out there is developers not properly namespacing their block types. So like you have multiple developers making accordion blocks, but not like properly prefixing them with their company name, so that if you activate 2 plugins with an accordion block, you're seeing the overlaps.
Yeah, I definitely ran
top
into
of
that
that-
with buttons.
Yeah, and then them writing like generic class names so that they're all targeting like the same elements with their style sheets that are all in queuing at the same time. That's what I would imagine is the source of a lot of the conflict.
Has anybody? I've disabled a number of those blocks that are similar, just so you only go through with one. But has anybody found that even though you disable them, another block kit still presents problems, or is that just a matter of discovery?
It's probably just discovery at
Okay.
that point.
Okay.
How about you, Jen? You played with any? Oh, you're muted.
Well, I didn't have anything exciting to say anyways.
Oh.
So I've done a little, but not too much in depth. No.
Cool. All
I had a
right.
question about blocks.
Okay.
I was told by Cadence Block tech support, oh, well, your theme has to be compatible for blocks to work. So just because you have WordPress 5.5.1 doesn't necessarily mean you can use blocks.
Right, that is correct. I mean, you
Is
have
that
to
correct?
use
For that?
you have to use a theme that supports the block editor and blocks. Yes.
So what does that mean exactly? You can only go back as far as a year or two for a WordPress theme, or what?
There's
Well-
plenty of old themes. I'm sure, like, if you booted up the old, like, 2012 theme, I'm sure it works fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna
It'll
be
This
some
be-
was the
unstyled.
2015 theme. It wasn't working in 2015 theme.
Well, it's not going to do like full width or any of that kind of stuff because
okay.
the theme has to support that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You know, yeah. It's going to work within the bounds of the content box. So, if that makes sense.
Because at least, like,
You know, like,
the core
'cause-
blocks, all they're doing is just dumping HTML into the post content, which, like,
Yeah.
that will be supported by any theme.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So,
Like in
That's the
some
whole
ways,
reason-
it's stepping back from the way it used to be many years ago when you did just HTML, and that you got a container, you put a column in it, and then you put the content, and that's about it. And you just have a number of different containers coming down on your sheet. That's what it appears to me is the basis of it. If that makes
Which is
sense.
mainly there for, like, backwards compatibility. So that way you could move stuff around. Like, back when Gutenberg was a plugin, you could disable Gutenberg, and the page would run. No problem. You know.
But it includes some JavaScript too, right? Gutenberg?
Not in the post content itself, not generally.
Okay.
There's just, like, HTML comments around, like, what each block would be, indicating certain attributes for said block.
Okay.
Thanks for the discussion, guys.
Thanks.
okay. All right. I'm going to knock you out, Andy. Pow. Thank you for dropping in like you always do. You're wonderful. We enjoy having you on the call. You're muted. So,
Thank you and thanks.
all right. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right. So, we've got a question from the chat. Patricia asks, okay, a question, which is quite basic. I'm setting up a landing page for my book launch. I have downloaded the free version of Elementor to create the landing page. Is this something you recommend? Am I on the right track? You folks that are familiar with Elementor, I'm going to let you guys take that one.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, it's a good basic tool if you're not quite familiar with probably how to use the blocks. Because if it's a basic page, you may not need Elementor. I'd be curious as to like what theme you're using and just making sure you're picking something that's basic and gonna work well for you. But I think if it's a landing page for your book, unless it's something way out there, like you're gonna be fine because it's probably just a one page, maybe 2 pages. So it shouldn't be too complex.
I'm going to give her the link to join if she wants to drop in. And
Sure.
We'll take this other question about the Facebook stuff real quick. This one came through our Meetup group. Can you discuss the changes that will take place with Facebook and WordPress on October 24th? Does this change mean that any link I link out to into my WordPress website from Facebook will no longer work?
I mean, if all you're doing is, like, inserting an actual just link to a Facebook or Instagram post, you'll be fine. It's if you're using any plugin with embedding where you'll run into
It's
problem.
the embeds. There's a couple of good articles that I can link to that you can read through it a little bit more, but a lot of it is just, it's just the embed. So if you had the embed, kind of like where you see more often, what I see is like a YouTube embed where it plays in the screen. So basically it's the same theory, but for Facebook or for Instagram. So it's displaying that one link in your page. So that's what it's going to impact. Some people do have a lot of those. Some people have none of those. But just a straight link, as Travis said, should work. But I think there was one that had a link to, there was a plugin that's going to help out with that.
Yeah, Carlene actually just noted in the comments, she said, she said, I saw today if you install Jetpack, those links will still work. or embeds
Oh.
will still work. Do you want to provide those 2 links that you had found, Jen, and we can copy them in the...
Yeah, I can send
Yeah.
those.
You can drop them in Slack if you want to, and I'll copy them over. Because I can't remember if you can... You can't... Can you access the comment chat, or no?
No, but we can post to. I think I can
Okay.
post it to
That also works.
YouTube.
Post it to YouTube or Facebook, either one.
I'm not sure
it'll
if
show
it'll allow me. Oh wait, that's way too many characters for it. Of course. Maybe I'll just try a couple at a time.
Okay. The way I've always understood it is that WordPress will support like a handful of embeds natively as part of that OEmbed protocol, and then anything beyond that, a plugin would be required to make it be recognized.
The Facebook and Instagram blocks have been removed from
Oh.
Gutenberg.
Okay. Wow. So they've actually removed them completely from it. Interesting.
Just because there's no really flow set up right now in WordPress, at least like core WordPress, for
Okay.
being able to authenticate with Facebook and Instagram.
We're going to bring Patricia into the call, so with her question about landing pages and books.
Okay, wow.
Hey, Patricia. Make sure that you have got the video that you're watching on
There's
mute.
no really flow set up right now.
On mute?
It's like,
Yeah, on mute. Take the whatever you're watching, YouTube or Facebook, and make sure that is muted.
So, it's a
Oh,
question
boy.
about landing pages and books. Okay, wow. Hey, Patricia. Make sure that you have got the video that you're watching on mute.
I'm going to put you.
Camera
Yeah, on
live?
mute. Check
Oh wait, I see
take
it. I see
whatever
it.
you're watching, YouTube or Facebook, and make sure.
There you go. Can you still hear us? Okay, good. And you're muted, unfortunately. You don't want to mute your microphone. You just want to take the sound on the video and turn it down. Or pause it. Or... Yeah, because you're basically connecting to us through StreamYard, so it's just like connecting to a Zoom call, where you have your microphone and your video, and you want to make sure that the speakers are not playing our show on your computer. Does that make sense? Unmute yourself real quick. I can't unmute you. You're still muted. Oh, I think she disconnected. No. If you figure that part out, come back again. Okay, so you're gonna cut and paste those into the YouTube or the Facebook chat, the YouTube stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go.
You're still muted.
I think we have you back now.
Nope. I think you
Nope,
disconnected.
you're still listening to the stream on your computer, so
Okay.
If you figure
that's
that
what we're hearing in the background. So you want to make sure whatever you're listening to on the stream, that you have that.
So you're gonna
The
put
volume turned down
Yeah.
of the stream.
Oh, there you go. You're still muted.
Yeah.
I think we have you back now. I think you
So what's happening is, I'm going to mute you for just a second. What's happening is your microphone is picking up your speakers, and since you're watching the stream, that speaker is coming through your microphone. So you have to at least turn off the stream and just listen to us through the show. Okay? Okay, I muted you. No, you're still...
Do you have more than one browser page open? Is that it? You didn't go to the right browser page?
You're unmuted. You're muted, I think. Hang on. Yeah, you've muted yourself again. You should have one tab that says StreamYard, and maybe you've got another tab that has YouTube or Facebook. Close the tab or that has Facebook or YouTube, and just leave this tab on that says StreamYard, and then unmute your mic. Okay, now
I think
try.
I'm there.
There you are. There you go.
Yay.
Awesome. Okay. All right. We may have to write
Thank
that
you.
up. Yeah, no problem. It's a little confusing because you're actually part of the show. So yeah. And you can always pick it up afterwards. It'll be like a 10-minute lag, so you won't miss anything because you're here
Okay.
anyway. Okay. So, Jen, I think you wanted to find out what theme she was using.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I'm using an older theme. It's 2011. Back then, I started one of the freebie WordPress sites, and it worked okay for me. I wasn't real active on it, but it served my needs to be an online presence. But then I got the big idea that with this, I'm launching a new book, and I want to be better on WordPress. So I do have the business level WordPress subscription, but I realized that with the many themes, I was just becoming overwhelmed and picking a theme. And so I reverted back to what worked for me, which was 2011. But I'm open to using any theme because I can with the business level. But I'm really more interested in creating landing pages my for my launch, which will connect to
Okay.
my email uh, service, which is MailChimp.
Okay.
So that's what
Most landing pages are basically just a page within WordPress. So you can actually create a page in WordPress and then design that page as a landing page. And that way, when you're ready to launch it, you can either create another URL that goes directly to that URL, and then that will, yeah.
oh, that would be great.
Yeah, that's typically the best way to do those. I do that with I've done that with Beaver Builder on a friend's site, and we used a theme that basically just got rid of all the borders and the edges, and then
Yeah.
just built the whole thing out with Elementor. I mean, with Beaver Builder.
Yes.
But Elementor has that same process. I'm not sure if Elementor can do that on 2011 though, so you might have to use one of the more current themes like
Right.
Oxygen, or maybe not Oxygen, but Jen, you've worked with Elementor. What themes are pretty standard for them? Is like I know Generate Press.
Generate Press is.
That's right. The free version of
um,
Generate Press.
Yeah.
You can you can lose all the edges and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I think Elementor gives you a bunch of free templates for landing pages. So you can actually start with that.
Yes.
And Beaver Builder does too. Beaver Builder has the ability to
Yeah.
plop a gigantic, landing page in for you, and you can go from there. And I think Elementor has its own form builder. So if you are planning on doing like capturing mailing lists, you can do that with one of their little block modules and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for saying that because it never occurred to me that I could use my website, the website as a landing page because right now
Yeah.
that's all I need right now. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all I want right now. Really, that's all I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. So you can actually you can create multiple pages, like WordPress pages, build
Yes.
them with Elementor as a landing page for that book,
Yes.
and then promote that to the front of your URL using the it's the WordPress settings. Settings as homepage. Set that page up as homepage,
Yes.
or you
Settings,
can just
reading
change
front
another.
page.
Yeah, settings. Yeah, reading front page. That settings. Okay.
Thank you. That was really very helpful. I appreciate
Cool.
it. Thank
Yeah, anytime. Thank you for joining us. As
you.
this was your first, excuse me, this was your first WordPress meetup, right?
Yeah, well, I attended another WordPress meetup with Sam Richardson
Okay.
from Tampa Bay Technology,
Okay.
but that wasn't what I needed. So,
Okay.
so I saw your WordPress meetup available, and I thought, when I saw ask us anything, I thought, well, maybe that's what I
Yeah.
need.
And we mean it. We do mean it. Ask us anything is absolutely what we mean. So, and you can, when you really want to, you can learn how to do a built landing page in Gutenberg too. But hey.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to recommend it. I'm just going to say you can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you for dropping in. I'm going to go ahead and take you out now, and you can pop back into watching the show.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you for dropping in. All right. Let's see. Kick from studio. I love our little guests. Guests are fun. What? They are. Okay. All right. So meetup questions again. We did Carlene's. Here's a good one. This is about the WordPress site map thing. And oops, sorry. There we go. Oops, I said his name twice. Okay. Does the latest version of WordPress create a sitemap that conflicts with plugin sitemaps? It does create its own sitemap, but Yoast and most of the other plugins that create sitemaps have the ability to ignore that one. I believe that's the answer for that, but let me make sure. Yoast, ignore, built-in sitemap. Let's see. Hang on. Oh, here we go. Found it. I'm going to share this tab real quick and the link. If you're using Yoast, this is going to be that answer. I hear so many people clicking over there. Okay. Since 5.5, WordPress comes with its own built-in XML sitemaps. What does Yoast SEO sitemaps function now that WordPress has done it? They'll go ahead and build it. Oh, hang on. I can't read. Unfortunately, it's too small for me, so let me go. There we go. All right. And let me hide that question real quick. So it says, should I disable my WordPress XML sitemap? Since every WordPress now comes with its own XML sitemap, you might think it might be a good idea to turn it off. Yoast says we automatically turn off the default XML sitemap. So, and my guess is that most of the SEO plugins that build those will automatically do that too. Okay. So, anybody had any experience with that yet? Elaine, I think you asked about that last week too, didn't you?
Yeah. I've never had a problem with them conflicting. You know, Yoast with.
John actually said you're right. It sorted out this week.
Yeah.
Gotta love it when they answer their own questions. Okay, here's a good one from Brenda. How to update PHP. That's a good one. I ran into this recently. Hang on. New comments. Come on. That's weird. It's not letting me change tabs and see. Yeah, it's not letting me see my new comments. Oh well. So how to update PHP on your host. I ran into this recently on HostGator, where client's website was needed to go to WordPress 5.1, and we were going to run into a PHP conflict on being able to update. And I went into the cPanel and did it and blew her site away, and ended up having to contact their chat support, and they fixed it. So typically, most hosting companies have the ability for you to easily switch the PHP version using a built-in function, usually in their cPanel or their whatever control panel they provide. I'm going to let these folks down here answer any caveats about that.
Well, I think when updating PHP on your host, what we're forgetting to talk about is step 0. And step 0 is cloning your site locally and using, generally with a tool like local, because with local, you can very easily change the PHP version. So you can clone your site locally, change the PHP version there, see what the conflicts are, make the change in that environment very easily. And like generally what you would want to do is say like you're running PHP 5.6 and you want to go to PHP 7.4, you want to start with the lowest PHP version and just slowly creep your way up and see what conflicts you run into along the way, rather than just taking that big leap. Yeah, but then from there it's just like a matter of like going to Google and typing in your host name and upgrade PHP and seeing what comes back. And if you don't find anything, just reach out to them and be like, hey, I need to upgrade to this version of PHP.
And they'll do a backup beforehand usually.
Yeah. And if they say we can't upgrade, you say, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a big one. if you need a newer version of PHP, because didn't 5.5 require?
I don't think they changed the hardcore requirements, and if they did, it's probably 5.6.
I think it was 5.6. I think she was on 5.4 or something like that, and I just went
There's
and
no
knocked her.
reason to be running anything less than 7.3 right now, realistically.
Honestly, the only thing that happened is there was some little issue with the INI file or something, and they fixed it. And once that was done, there was no conflicts with any of the plugins, and everything worked perfectly. And the site ran a lot faster. So I've usually never ran into those issues, so I haven't really worried about it. But I totally agree with you, Travis. The safe way to do it is to not do what Mr. Cowboy Jim did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I tried to upgrade a website last week or 2 weeks ago to 7.4 from 7.0 or something. It crashed the site, but
why?
and that's exactly what the host said. You should take it incrementally because it might be a plugin or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some, like, even from 7.0 to 7.4, little things get deprecated along the way. Some requirements change around parameters. Some extensions disappear, like PHP extensions. Where, like, if you're not doing it incrementally, you can miss it very easily.
Okay.
Especially if the developers of said plugins aren't doing the proper checks.
John's got a good question here too.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of the HTTP to HTTPS redirects?
My question would be, why would you want to get rid of them? You should want all your traffic going to the secure version.
Yeah. I know I use really simple SSL, and it does that automatically. It adds the entries into your htaccess file, and what that does is basically do a regex against the one to automatically do it. So.
And when you can, like, any, like, HTTP to HTTPS redirect, try not to do that in WordPress. Try to get that as low level as possible, like an htaccess file, nginx config. Much more performant.
Yeah. And some plugins, I know, like really simple SSL will do a lot of that for you too. So they'll just go ahead and take care of it. Okay, I think we have another Meetup question. And Brenda, if you're out there, hopefully we answered your question about the, there's Pat's question about creating a landing page courting mailing list with MailChimp. So we've answered that one. Kate's got trouble changing fonts with Ocean WP theme. Anxious, confused about e-commerce SSL. Let's see. We might want Kate to join the call to give us a little more information. I have never used Ocean WP. Have you guys used that theme?
No,
Not
I thought it was a
deeply.
droplet or some weird thing.
Oh, and I figured out what the search was. Travis, remember the other day when I said oxygen search?
Yes.
It's not oxygen. It is... Oh, and now I completely forgot the name of it again. God dang it. There is nothing worse when you cannot remember the name of something you were looking for. I want to say it was Ocean. Ocean search? No. Nope, not that one. Gosh, darn it. It came up in a thing the other day, and I meant to make a note of it. I should have made a note of it. It's definitely not oxygen, though. Okay. I was going to check and see if... I have never looked at the Ocean WP theme, so...
It's been a while since I have.
Yeah.
Probably been at
see.
least a year, maybe two.
They do have a pre-version, okay. I was checking to see.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and... Well, activate. Oops. Activate. Change. Ocean. Customize. Okay, here. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen real quick. Chrome tab. Excuse me. There we go. Okay, I'm in Ocean right now, and the only place I see topography at is right here. Holy crap, that's a lot of topography. They use Google fonts, obviously. So, yeah. So we would need to know what your issues you ran into.
Were there any, because we don't see it, were there any options there when you clicked on that font family dropdown?
Yeah, let me check in a second. Hang on. So if I go to like a Google font like Oxygen, under font
it's just
weight,
all Google
I can
fonts like
turn
me?
on. I can do default, which is not yeah, all of them, I believe, or I can select specific ones.
StreamYard doesn't show us any like drop-down overlay.
Oh, okay.
No, it
Yeah.
just says default.
Yeah.
So we don't see, yeah, when you're clicking on something, we don't see.
So you're not
The
seeing that?
drop-downs.
Oh, well, that's sad. That's not very helpful at all.
Yeah, I thought, well, no wonder she can't figure it out because it's not working.
Yeah. So you see them after I've selected them, but you don't see the
Yes.
drop
Yeah.
down before
So
that.
we
Well,
saw the
that's-
change to semi bold 600.
Well, that is not helpful at all.
No.
So, yeah, you can choose specific ones, but you can't choose all of them. You know how Generate Press allows you to select like a whole bunch in an autocomplete field. So, yeah, that's really bizarre. I would say, like, again, like Travis was talking about how you start general and you set your font levels at the top level, so all headings being Oxygen maybe. Don't set a specific one here. Set it for default at that level, and then underneath each heading, that's where you would set your font weight for your specific ones. Unless you did want to make sure that they were all bold, definitely. So like, you know, bold is 700. And then just set your sizes under the headings there. So,
Kate is saying in the chat that the words in orange at the footer are not going to my selected font.
the words in orange and the footer.
But we don't have,
do you have a
link
link?
to the site.
Yeah, can you give us a link to the site? That'd be best.
You might want to check the YouTube chat, Jim. It might have
Okay.
sometimes if you type a link into the chat, sometimes it'll filter it out as spam.
Nope, she hasn't
I
put
don't
a
know if
link
it
in
was
there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, actually go over to YouTube. I see what you mean. Okay. View on YouTube. Let's put this on. Shut up. Okay. Yeah, Kate, we're gonna need the link to your website. You didn't. Well, that might help. So, or you can join the call with that StreamYard link that we have available as well. Let me copy that out. And provide us a link to the website, or you can join the call. Okay, I'm going to pop back over to Meetup questions real quick, and I'm going to stop the screen share for right now. And Meetup, there's a general question, just SEO, which is not terribly helpful. Folks, if you're going to ask a question in our Meetup questions, you want to be specific so that we can actually help you. Because SEO is just a general topic, and we could talk for months and months and months on SEO. Sorry, Jen could. I can't. I saw that laugh, Jen. Yeah, we'd probably want on your Kate, if you don't manage to get back in the call or don't have a link or etc. What you want to do is look at what they're called in the footer, and that may be the setting you're looking for. Let me see if I can find that again real quick. Hang on, Chrome tab.
It's possible whatever text you've put in the footer, depending on how it got there, it might not be controlled by Oxygen
Right.
or Ocean.
Well,
Sorry.
there's a couple of things. There's the footer copyright, which is this little block right here. It's the light gray on mine. So like if I change that color, I don't have the ability to do it there. The colors are in a separate section. I'm in typography. But footer copyright is the very bottom right there. Footer widget headings is everything in the blocks above that. So, can you guys see my mouse?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, so like this whole area here, I could probably have to add a footer widget to make it do anything. So let me go back. Hang on. Widgets, footer widgets.
But depending on like the footer widgets that is put in, that
Right.
doesn't necessarily guarantee that the CSS that Ocean WP is generating
Oh, I think
is
we have
properly
Kate.
targeting it.
Please start minicam. Okay. Kate, are you minicammed out multiple places?
I might be. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, you're not. We can hear you fine.
Is my
Can you give
video
us? We're not seeing your video, but we can hear you.
okay? All right.
And hearing you is the most important thing.
Okay.
Can you share your screen for your website?
Let me see.
There's a little option in the menu at the bottom of StreamYard that says Share Screen.
Sharing.
Or you can give us the link and we'll do it.
Okay, yeah. It was just that BambinoVino.com. It's very minimal. Like I wish I had just started. I really haven't. It's been a while. But I'm
Can
just
you type that link into, because I have no idea where to, you said it's a fast. There's a private chat button on the right-hand side of your screen. Can you type the link in there?
yeah, let me do that.
Okay. You're multi-streaming us. Oh, I see. That's it.
Oh, am I? Oh.
Yes, we're in a Inception window, people.
Ooh.
Blah 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 blah.
I don't know
blah.
what I've done. Okay.
You're in the show. Bambino Vino, that one.
That one, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let me pull it up real quick, and I'll hang on. I'm gonna take you out, and I'll bring it back up on my side. All right, Chrome tab. Ask us. Let me see live preview. Is it Bambino Vino?
Yes.
And the orange you're referring to is those links, right?
Yeah, those are the only ones, and they're only orange because I've set a link to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Like
other
here?
ones are not clickable. But every
Those are your. Actually, those might be your. Well, they're not linkable. Oh, they are linkable. Okay. Oh.
I wanted them to be the font of the small, like where it says Meta. I'd like them to be that font. I think it's Lato, Lato.
Yeah, your shop cart, meta, and customer care. Those are your footer header widgets. And the rest of the stuff is just your footer text. So let me go back. I'm going to share my. Let me go back to my configuration again, real quick.
Well, I'm looking at the style sheet here. Like I dug into the code
Cool.
here, and it looks like it's something related to Elementor. Elementor.
Elementor is
Oh.
always present, yeah.
Yeah, that is what's controlling the font in,
Ah.
in those elements.
I've hit a lot of blocks with Elementor because I'm just doing the free version, and I hit a lot of like stops due to that reason. So I don't know if I want to go forward with it.
Okay, you may just want to be changing it in widgets. Because see how in the. Can you see the screen that I'm
Yeah.
sharing now? Okay. You see how you've got a footer widget heading, and that's probably set for Lato here? Is more than likely
Okay.
set for Lato? Let me
Yeah, I
change
think
mine
I
real
wanted
quick.
and put them all at Lato.
Okay, so if that's set for Lato, what you may want to do is your widgets is going to control the text in the widgets. So you
Okay.
want to set that family to Lato as well.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
that might not work, depending on how.
Well, there's
the-
sidebar widget heading, and there's widgets, and there's footer widget heading. So widgets should be widget widgets.
No, but looking at this, like what's actually being rendered on the site, that font in the footer for those links is coming from some sort of Elementor thing. It is not.
Oh, it's
in
actually
the-
like hard coded.
not hard coded, but it's loaded in from some sort of style sheet. It has like an Elementor prefixed class name
Okay. Okay.
because like it's not in the Ocean WP styling block that they have.
I
in
follow
there.
you. I follow you. And I'm not good about how to turn off fonts in Elementor, but
Yeah, I haven't looked into that, like turning off Elementor fonts. Maybe that'll
yeah,
be
because your widget title, your widget title's coming directly from the custom sheet or from the main style sheet there. Yeah, but your oh my, I'm looking. Oh yeah, I see what you're talking about. Huh. That's interesting.
It's something called Elementor Kit 20.
Okay, I'll look into that.
Yeah. I've never used
Oh,
Elementor,
yeah.
so unfortunately, like I can't like.
Yeah, and they're doing
Work
like
out
massive
from there.
overrides. Yeah, because they're pulling in the entire typography primary font family and everything.
Yeah.
They're doing a complete global overwrite, is what they're doing.
Would you suggest something else rather than Elementor? I know you mentioned that Beaver Builder.
Beaver Builder's good too, but what I would just do is check and see. I'd have to pull up Elementor on that machine to look at it again, but I know there's a way to turn off font overrides in Elementor. I just do not know what it is. So, and I'd have to load one up to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't looked into though, so I'll look into
Yeah.
that.
Let me see if I can find one real quick. Let me go out of this share screen and I'll do a quick Google search. Who'd we lose? Did we lose Jen?
Looks like.
Oh, there she is. She fell out. Welcome back, Jen. We missed you. Don't know where you went.
I got kicked out somehow.
Oh no, I didn't do
But
it.
Kate, if you're
Elementor.
using like any type of templates, like whatever templates you're using for Elementor, like it probably has either a footer template that you created, or maybe you're using one that's like pre-made.
I think I made the footer within Ocean WP because I was doing the Elementor footers, but they kept on messing up, so I figured it'd be safer just to use the Ocean WP footer. So that's what I'm using for the footer, I think. Sorry if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they've got overall site settings in Elementor underneath the typography section. But I'm looking at Elementor, so it could be Elementor Pro.
Yeah, that builder it overrides a lot. I mean, a lot of builders will, but it definitely will override a lot, and you'll spend a lot of time flipping between the theme and the builder trying to figure out what's coming from where.
Yeah.
I know, I'm kind of leaning towards just not using Elementor and just using just the basic WordPress, what theme I'm using right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
It just depends on the use for it. Like I mean, sometimes there is a need for it or a use for it, and sometimes there's not. It just depends. For me, I mean, I use builders. I use a couple of different builders, but I mean, sometimes you just don't need them. Just depends on the complexity of the site. And
I know for
what
me,
you wanna do
setting
with the
colors for fonts is really weird sometimes, especially in Beaver Builder. Like when you drop text over the top of images and stuff and you need it to be white.
Yes.
And I have to add a style just for that. It drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Elementor does the same. It's
Yeah.
Well, thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for dropping in.
All right. Bye. Sorry about my camera.
But no worries. Figure it out for next time. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do we have any additional questions? I've got a strange scroll bar that is saying new comments, so I can't tell if I've actually got new comments below in our comments, which is kind of odd. I've never seen this before. Are you guys seeing that in the comments screen? Nope, now it's gone. Go weird. Okay. That was strange. Okay. We don't have any other questions in Meetup, so we are currently at an hour. What are you guys working on? Anything fun?
I'm looking at our Facebook to see if anybody dropped something in there.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Elaine, thank you for answering all that stuff inside the chat. You're awesome.
No problem.
Yeah. And Travis, what you been working on, running to now that you're back in the web world? Anything fun?
Yeah, I've just been going back and forth, working on internally at Rocket Genius, working on a Chargify add-on, so we can move all of our purchase or our checkout process in house.
Wow.
And boy, that is one of the more complicated payment JS embed things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to control the layout, they're like, hey, you can put every single input into a separate element on the page, and each of those elements will be populated with a separate iframe.
Holy, that's insane.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Okay. Fascinating.
And then
And
with
why
for
would you
gravity
want to
stuff,
do
we're
that?
just- yeah.
Yeah.
And then for gravity, we're just like hammering away at getting Gravity Forms 2.5 compatibility stuff done, along
Now-
with some fun. Along with that, we're doing like a total UI overhaul. So it's taken us longer than. It would.
That's what I was going to ask you about. That fillable PDF thing that you showed off in the Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Is that new? That's new UI for you guys,
That's
right?
a brand new UI, yeah.
Yeah, that's stunning. For you guys that have never used that particular product, Fillable PDF is a really great plugin by Travis and his team at For Gravity that basically allows you to take a pre-built PDF that has fillable blocks like your IRS forms or maybe like employment applications, that sort of thing, where you've got a client that has a form that must be filled out the way they want it filled out. And it basically allows you to create a template that overlays in Gravity Forms all of those form fields and plops the stuff down.
So with our current the current version of the plugin, like you can go and create a new feed and like you select your template and you can click a mapper button and it shows you in a modal like the PDF and it has like highlights for the fields and you can click in and you like map a field there. But we're radically overhauling it so you could like select multiple fields at once and change like map multiple fields at the same time and much more granular control over like what you can do with each field and just making it like more pleasant to look at.
It looks great.
And it's a great way to learn more about React and Redux and all that fun stuff along the way.
There you go. Yeah. Out of all of the plugins that I've seen out there, that's probably one of them. If I was still doing a lot of the stuff I was doing back in the past, that is definitely a plugin I would be buying because it's very useful.
And like the import PDF feature alone, where you can just take that PDF you have and it will just create a Gravity Forms form from it.
Oh, that works now?
It's really, it always has worked. It just doesn't. Like, it won't automatically like map the feed. That's on our roadmap.
Gotcha.
But,
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. He also has some other really cool add-ons at For Gravity as well. Travis and I both work for Gravity Forms, and Elaine and Jen are both freelancers, right?
We work for ourselves. We're entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneurs, excuse me. Sorry. Self-employed individuals.
Of course.
So what have you been working on, Elaine? Anything fun?
All those little things I told you about, just tweak. Oh, question.
Yeah, you had one, didn't
For what? I've been
You had
having
a question.
questions.
you?
For WooCommerce, the plugin for authorized.net. Just discovered on somebody's site that their authorized.net WooCommerce plugin had been deprecated for a while.
Okay.
It wasn't working.
Huh.
So I picked the one that had 5 stars, but I don't think it's been around all that long. Said something generic name like authorized.net, WooCommerce. You know, they all have the same kind of name.
My
But-
guess would be that it got deprecated because I know there was a big authorized.net API change. And I imagine those developers
huge.
were like, we don't want anything to do with this anymore.
When was that,
I think recently.
roughly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we were doing some stuff at Rocket Genius for that, for our
Yeah.
authorized.net integration.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like it, just because like it has a generic name, it's not necessarily untrustable. I know like there's like a lot of like you see it on Code Canyon a lot. There's a lot of developers that are just churning out like every payment gateway possible, because like once you kind of got the framework down for like whatever platform you're integrating it with, whether it's Gravity Forms, WooCommerce, etc., it's very easy to just pop in a different payment gateway and just keep going
Yeah.
and just saturate the market.
Yeah. And authorized.net has a lot of other very specific requirements too.
Yeah.
As far as like
Yeah, it just
the
freaked me out. Like,
communication.
how deep is this problem? Do I have to?
I had to use them when I did the Berries Gourmet Brownies website, and I remember how complicated it was to set up. But most of the complication came from the merchant payment gateway, because that was the hardest part. So, if you're doing that kind of stuff, just make sure that you've got a test IP address and everything else for the
Sandbox.
merchant gateway first. Yeah, the sandbox, so that you can test that stuff ahead of time. And make sure that you're getting the 30-day money-back guarantee from whatever possible payment gateway authorized net thing you're buying.
Well, this
Just in
plugin's
case.
free, but yeah.
Free. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I know
No.
there's like PayPal and Stripe integrations out there that are free because you authenticate against that developer's API key, and they're getting a cut of
Yeah.
all the transactions that are going through.
True. So.
Really? I didn't know that's how it worked. Okay.
I mean, WooCommerce, like Automatic, they make a good chunk of money off of. They have relationships with PayPal and Stripe, and they get a chunk of that. Not a large chunk, but they get a chunk of that payment processing fee that you pay to those platforms.
I think they do the same thing with their shipping plugins too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like UPS and that kind of stuff. So.
But it wasn't
And-
like this thing threw up a warning on the back end, or the health check didn't show it, like
It just stopped working.
this.
Just
Yeah, some transactions, when I clicked on them, it just said error code, blah, blah.
Well, WooCommerce has logging, don't they?
Yeah, haven't totally gotten the hang of that yet, but
Yeah. That's
So,
if
like,
they've
if
got
that-
logging, yeah.
If the payment gateway plugin is like properly handling errors that are coming back and like logging them properly, it's not necessarily a problem that like health check or something would pop up because there's nothing necessarily wrong with the plugin. It's more the API that it's integrating with.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. The main thing is you want to get as much
So the
information
API
as you can.
changed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The API changed? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And you just want to make sure you get as much information as you can for troubleshooting it. So that you can find out where the breakdown's happening. Is it the gateway? Is it the merchant gateway? Is it the plugin? That kind
Okay.
of thing. How about you, Jen? Anything fun?
Nothing too exciting. I've just been doing WooCommerce as well. And I've been like touching more PHP than I ever wanted to, so
I'm sorry.
that's fun.
Yeah.
Make me pull my hair out.
I mean,
I-
we can
I-
switch. We can switch if you want. I'll take the PHP stuff. You take the React stuff. And
Well,
Yeah, there you go.
I don't dislike it as much as I thought I would, and I would like to learn more about it. But it's just it's just when you're trying to figure out what the heck's going on and how to make a small change. And there's some things in WooCommerce that seem like like they should be very simple things to change, and they're just not.
They're not well documented. I know that's one thing I have
No.
a biggest issue with them is trying
And
to
that's,
get information.
That's an issue that I have with a lot of plugins too, because there's some plugins that it's like, it might be easier to just use this plugin, but I can't quite tell, and especially when you need it for like one specific purpose. It's like, well, you're not quite sure if that plugin is really necessary or if it's going to address that one specific issue because it's not documented very well.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just easier to get in and just try with the PHP and see if you can fix it that way. So I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I know I spent an entire day looking at the PHP data structure API thingy to figure out where stuff was being stored and how it was being stored and how you had to call it. And I was like ready to rip my head off after that because it was like, here's the PHP piece and then here's how it's actually being saved in custom meta, but it's not really saved in custom meta. It's being saved in another database table. And you're going, oh my God, this is so confusing. And which is now I understand why people write plugins for this crap.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, well, fascinating.
But I think that's a point though for plugin marketing because just the documentation of it would help so tremendously, and I'd be more apt to spend money on a plugin if I knew that okay, this addresses my issue. It's $20, $50, however much dollars, and it's going to take me however many hours to figure it out. Yeah, let me plop down that money and save myself some time. And knowing
that's a
that it'll
question.
address my issue. But if you don't know, it's like it's kind of frustrating.
Have you reached out to their pre-sale support, or are you reaching out like through the WooCommerce marketplace, and so it's taking a little longer to get answers like that?
Oh, I just.
I would do that. I would
either,
look
honestly.
at their available documentation. If you don't find it within like 10 to
Mm-hmm.
15 minutes, immediately just pop your question out into pre-sale support, because if someone's written a plugin, they're liable to be getting that question a lot, and that will also tell you if it's worth paying money down for it, depending on how responsive they are to the answers.
True.
Because we get that asked all the time. We have folks constantly coming to us asking very specific, very unique, very business rule specific questions. And we can look at it and go, well, you can do that, and you might be able to test it with this. And, here's the documentation on that particular filter if you want to do that particular thing. So.
Or if you're just trying to get it done quick, spend that $20, $30 for the plugin. Look at the code, see what filters they're using, and just rip them off and put them into your own.
Yeah, Travis,
theme
some
and
of
keep
us aren't
moving.
like that. I know I'm not like that. I can't find filters.
By that time, honestly, I would just let them keep my money. So I'm like, man. It worked. Let's move on.
Believe me, I hand it to you developer types that do that kind of stuff, but like, no. That is not something. I'm too old at this point in time to ever be doing something like that. It's enough that I can figure out CSS and possibly figure out where the jQuery crap is coming from. So, but okay.
It's interesting.
All right.
Always something new.
With the, how many people we got on the call right now? We have 8 people out there. Okay, everybody out there in audience land, do you guys want to have a meetup in December, or shall we take December off? Answer now, or it's gone. Okay.
We don't get 20 Facebook likes by 10 p.m.
Exactly. Here you go. Yeah, if you don't like our website, our pages that are
It's going
YouTube,
away forever.
Yeah.
Yes means
No.
yes means take it off, or yes means they want a meeting.
Yes. If they say yes, they want a meeting in December.
We got 3 yeses and 1 no
Okay.
so far.
Yeah, Brenda's got to take off, so we have 3 yeses. How do you guys feel? Because we also have a vote, I think.
I mean,
Wait,
we
what is
have
the
enough
date?
yeses that the 3 of them could run the meeting. We could be
Good idea.
Not really. It's my account. So, but I mean,
Is it the 1st or the 8th that we're looking at?
it would be the December. Let me check. It would be December 1st, actually. Yeah. Wow, we have like 5 weeks in December.
Do we not have a meeting in November, or it's rescheduled?
It's
It's
on
rescheduled.
the 17th.
Yeah, we're doing it on the 17th.
Okay.
So we can
I feel
definitely
like
next
that's
meetup-
close enough.
Yeah.
That
The
can
next
be
meetup
a.
will- Sorry, I was going to say the next meetup will be in 5 weeks.
No, Patricia, we're actually meeting in November on November 17th. We're just not meeting it on the 3rd because that's election. So, okay. So, yeah, we'll do December 1st. We'll keep it in. Might as well. Okay. But we're not having any other meetings in December. We're letting everybody get their vacations in, or go to WordCamp US that doesn't exist, or go to, whatever else.
Orlando, yeah. They used to
Is
be.
Orlando having their meet? Is there
No,
Orlando having their
It
WordCamp?
used to be
No.
December
Yeah.
5th. December 5th, but now they're
Yeah.
May something.
There was a time
And-
back at the end of February when we had talked about WordCamp Orlando at WordCamp Miami that I was
Yeah.
very optimistic that it's still going to happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised on the whole mega meetup that they don't have links on their meetup or anything yet, and it's in less than a week. So, but okay, we will be
we'll figure it
posting
out.
out what we can about it as soon as we can, so that you guys can know about it. And thank you, Andy. We will do our best to properly run this election and not let it be stolen or otherwise. We will exercise our constitutional right to vote for our next president and everybody else. Carlene, we can hang on for 10 minutes if you got another question.
Last call.
Last call for questions. We didn't see any more in there, so that's why we were wrapping up. I don't see any questions yet, Carlene. 10 minutes. Oh, it's in the chat.
Which chat?
I'm looking. Hang on.
Let's see.
I'm scanning back, Carlene. I don't see another one from you.
Can you post it again for us? I don't see it either.
Yeah. There was the question about the embeds.
Yeah. Which we
See a
addressed.
thumbs up from
Yeah.
Carlene.
Yeah, but nothing else after
I
that.
don't see a question from her.
YouTube. Yeah, I've not seen a YouTube question. What's your question, Carlene?
If it had a link, I know mine don't get posted if they've got links. If I post more than once, I think I've noticed.
Yeah.
I don't know
Unless
why.
It was in the show
So
notes.
you might have to repaste it for us.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Here it is. When I read email from my site, it shows a bogus name in the to field, not my site address. I can't find the bogus name anywhere. Have I been hacked? What do I look for? Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can pop it in there. This is the question. When I read email from my site, it shows a bogus name in the to field, not my site address. It depends on where your email's coming from your website, for one thing, because sometimes it has to translate whatever your admin email is, and if you're on GoDaddy, it's going to be coming from like a really like secure site server link, and it gets really confusing, typically. If you can kind of give like a little bit of information what the to field is, that might help it, because GoDaddy doesn't use when they're sending emails from their system, their admin emails tend to come through their secure site server relay, and so they don't usually
it's
have your
potential that like whatever the site email address is that you're getting email
Yeah.
from, it was like associated with some other strange email in the past that your mail client is picking up. Like sometimes we'll like auto associate names with email addresses. You know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily a name that's being provided in the email headers.
Okay, so you're saying the admin email is the email address that is showing up in your to box. That would make sense because any email sent from WordPress is coming from your admin email address.
So it's info at.
Yeah. Is that your admin email address? Because what you can do if you're not sure, what is that? There's a plugin that's either part of the site check or health check thing, but there's an easier one. I think it's just called WP Email. Is it called WP Email plugin? Yes, it is actually called WP Email plugin. Hang on. I think that's the one. Maybe, maybe not. Hang on. Because if you're wanting to just test to see, you guys are being quiet. Or you're also checking. Yeah, WP email log plugin. You basically want to test to see an email sent from your site, what it's actually coming through as, and then escalate from there to your host, and find out if it doesn't match your admin email address on your website, and it's coming across as something else. You need to escalate to your host. Okay. Because that's what I would say. Yeah, if you were using like a Forms plugin or something, that would be different because then you would look at the Forms plugin to see how it's configured. But since your admin emails are coming through funky, I would say definitely test it with Health Check Site Check plugin. It has an email tester tool if you install it, and you can use that, or you can use the WP email plugin. Okay. All right. Well, we are at the 8 o'clock hour, so we are going to wrap it. As always, visit our website at wptampabay.org. Be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel here. So see that little like button down there, like that. And if you see a little bell down there, like that for notifications. Make sure you're subscribed to us, because that way you'll be notified whenever we do a YouTube live stream, and you can use it to actually notify your browser that, hey, you got thing that you're interested in showing up, and once you want to watch it, and it'll remind you. It's very nice. And everybody here, stay on. I'm going to kick us all out during the little video part, but thank you again, Elaine, Travis, and Jen, for being wonderful hosts. Thank you, everyone that dialed in and asked questions, and everyone that joined our call and asked questions. We love you. Stay safe here in the St. Pete, Tampa, and everywhere else United States area. Wear your masks, socially distance, all that good
Go
stuff.
vote.
And go vote. Do
vote.
not forget to vote. Make sure. Oh, you're too late now. If you haven't registered to vote, you're too late now. But you might be able to go down and beg them. I don't know. I'm sure it'll get extended again tomorrow. You know how DeSantis is. Anyway, sorry, that was rare. Anyway, let me see. Brad, where's my little end cap video? There it is. Okay. So again, thank you everyone who joined today, and let me turn that thing off so I can make the video show. And we will see you in next week if you're coming to the Mega Meetup, and next month on the 17th for our next Ask Us Anything. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching our recorded session from WordPress St. Pete Meetup. We meet twice a month on the first and third Tuesdays in downtown St. Pete at the Suncoast Developers Guild. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up in YouTube and be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new videos are added. Find out more about WordPress St. Petersburg at our website at wptampabay.org.